So you've heard the term web development. It sounds complicated, maybe a little intimidating, but let's break it down. At its core, web development is simply the work that goes into building a website. Think about any site you visit daily, whether it's YouTube, a news site, or your favorite online store. Someone or a team of people built that. They wrote the code, designed the layout, and made sure everything works when you click on it. That entire process, from a blank screen to a fully functional website, is web development. It's like being a digital architect and construction worker all rolled into one. It's a craft that combines logic and creativity. Essentially, web developers are the people who make the internet happen. They use special languages, which are really just sets of instructions, to tell computers what to show on a web page. This can be anything from simple text and images to complex interactive features like video players or online games. It's not magic, it's just code. And the cool thing is, anyone can learn to write this code. You don't need a fancy degree or some secret knowledge to get started. All you really need is curiosity and a willingness to learn how these digital experiences are put together from the ground up. The scope of web development is huge. It covers everything from making a simple, single-page personal portfolio to building massive, complex web applications like social media platforms or entire e-commerce ecosystems. A developer's job might involve making sure a site looks good on your phone just as well as on a giant desktop monitor. It could also mean building the secure systems that handle your online payments. It's a field that's constantly evolving, with new tools and technologies popping up all the time, which keeps things interesting. It's a puzzle, and every website is a new one to solve. So why should you care about this? Well, understanding the basics of web development is like learning how the modern world is built. The internet is woven into almost every part of our lives, and knowing how it works gives you a new perspective. Plus, it's an incredibly valuable skill. Whether you want to build a website for your own project, start a new career, or just understand the tech you use every day a little better, this is a great place to start. It's about taking control of the digital space instead of just consuming it. Let's get into it. Alright, so when we talk about building websites, we usually split the work into two main areas, the front end and the back end. Think of it like a restaurant. The front end is everything you, the customer, see and interact with. It's the decor, the tables, the menu you hold in your hands, and the friendly waiter taking your order. In web terms, the front end is all the visual stuff on a website. The colors, the fonts, the buttons, the menus, and the animations. It's called client-side development because it all happens on your device's browser, the client. The main goal here is to create a great user experience. Front-end developers use three core languages to make this happen: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML, or Hypertext Markup Language, is the skeleton. It provides the basic structure and content of the page, like the headings, paragraphs, and images. Then there's CSS, or Cascading Style Sheets. This is the style. CSS is what makes the website look good. It controls the colors, fonts, layout, and spacing. And finally, JavaScript brings the interactivity. When you click a button and a menu appears, or when you see a photo gallery you can swipe through, that's JavaScript at work. It makes the website dynamic and responsive to you, the user. Now let's talk about the back end. This is the kitchen of the restaurant. It's where all the behind-the-scenes magic happens that you, the customer, don't see. The back end consists of the server, the application, and the database. This is the part of the website that stores and organizes data and makes sure everything on the front end actually works. When you create an account on a website, type in your password, or save something to a shopping cart, the back end is doing the heavy lifting. It processes your request, fetches information from the database, and sends it back to the front end to be displayed. Back-end developers work with server-side languages like Python, Ruby, Java, PHP, or Node.js. They also manage databases, which are like giant, organized filing cabinets for all the website's information, using systems like MySQL or MongoDB. The back-end is all about logic, data, and security. It's what makes a website powerful and functional beyond just being a static brochure. For a simple personal website, you might not even need a complex back-end, but for anything that involves user accounts, data storage, or complex operations, the back-end is absolutely essential. It's the engine that powers the beautiful car. So, you're ready to start building. What do you actually need? The good news is, the barrier to entry is super low. You don't need a $1,000 setup or a supercomputer. The first and most obvious tool is a computer. Any modern laptop or desktop will do the job. It doesn't matter if it's a Mac, a Windows PC, or even a machine running Linux. As long as it can run a web browser and a text editor, you are good to go. You'll be writing code, not rendering a three-dimensional movie, so the demands on your hardware are actually pretty minimal when you're just starting out. Next up, you'll need a reliable internet connection. This one might seem obvious, but it's crucial for a few reasons. First, you'll be constantly looking things up. No developer knows everything. A huge part of the job is searching for solutions, reading documentation, and learning from online communities like Stack Overflow or developer forums. Second, you'll need to access tutorials, download tools, and eventually, upload your website to a server so other people can see it. Your internet connection is your lifeline to the vast world of web development resources and the global community of developers. It's your research library and your distribution network. The third key tool is a good text editor. Now, you could technically write code in a basic program like Notepad on Windows or TextEdit on a Mac, but a specialized code editor makes life so much easier. These are text editors built specifically for programming. They offer features like syntax highlighting, which color codes your code to make it easier to read and spot mistakes. They also have auto-completion, which suggests code as you type, and built-in file management. Some of the most popular and free options out there are Visual Studio Code, or VS Code, Sublime Text, and Atom. I'd recommend starting with VS Code. It's powerful, free, and has a huge community building extensions for it. And that's pretty much it. A computer, the internet, and a text editor. That's your starter pack. You don't need to buy expensive software or licenses to get started with the fundamentals of web development. Everything you need to build your first website using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is freely available. This low cost of entry is one of the best things about getting into this field. It's incredibly accessible. So, get your tools ready, because in the next section, we're going to actually start writing some code and building something from scratch. Alright, time to get your hands dirty. We're going to build a very simple web page. First, create a new folder on your desktop and name it something like My First Website. Inside this folder, open your text editor like VS Code and create a new file. Save it as index.html. This .html extension is important. It tells the browser that this is an HTML document. Now let's write the skeleton. Every HTML page has a basic structure. You'll start with doctype HTML, then add HTML, head and body tags. The head contains metadata like the title of your page, and the body contains all the visible content. Inside the body tags, let's add some content. We'll use an H1 tag for a main heading and a P tag for a paragraph. For example, you could write H1 Hello World and P. This is my very first website. I built this from scratch. Save the file. Now find that index.html file in your folder and double-click it. It should open right in your web browser and you'll see your heading and paragraph. That's it. You've just created a web page. HTML provides the meaning and structure. The H1 tag tells the browser, this is the most important heading, which is great for both users and search engines. But let's be real, it looks pretty plain. This is where CSS comes in to add some style. In the same folder, create a new file and name it style.css. Inside this file, we can write rules to target our HTML elements. For instance, let's change the background color of the page and the color of our heading. You could write body, open curly brace, background color pound, 2D, 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 close curly brace, and H1, open curly brace color, pound 00 BFFF, close curly brace. Now we need to link this CSS file to our HTML file. Go back to index.html and, inside the head section, add this line, link rel equals stylesheet, href equals style.cs. Save both files and refresh your browser. Boom! Your page now has a dark background and a bright blue heading. Now for the final piece of the puzzle, JavaScript for interactivity. Let's add a button that does something when you click it. In your index.html file, below your paragraph, add button, click me, button. Now create a third file in your folder called script.js. Inside this file, we'll write a simple function. But first, we need to connect it to the HTML. In your index.html, right before the closing body tag, add script src equals script.js script. Now, in your script.js file, you can write code to select the button and make it show an alert when clicked. It's a few lines of code, but the result is that your static page now responds to user actions. That's the basic workflow structure with HTML, style with CSS, and add behavior with JavaScript. So you've built your first simple website on your computer. That's a huge step. But right now, only you can see it. How do you share it with the world? This is where web hosting comes in. Think of web hosting as renting a small piece of space on a powerful computer called a server that is connected to the internet 24/7. You upload your website files, your index.html, style.css, and script.js to this server. When someone types your website's address, your domain name into their browser, the server sends them your files and your website appears on their screen. Getting your site online used to be more complicated, but now there are services that make it incredibly easy, especially for simple projects. Platforms like GitHub Pages, Netlify, and Vercel offer free hosting for what are called static sites, websites made just with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, without a complex backend. With a few clicks, you can connect a project folder from your computer and deploy it. They'll give you a free web address, and just like that, your site is live on the internet. You can send the link to your friends and family. This step is super rewarding because it makes your project feel real and tangible. Now that you've built something and put it online, what's next? The key to getting good at web development is simple. Practice, practice, practice. Don't just watch tutorials, build things. Try to recreate a simple website you like. Think of a small project, like a personal portfolio, a recipe site, or a page for your favorite hobby, and try to build it. Each project will present new challenges and force you to learn new things. You'll run into bugs, get frustrated, and spend hours searching for solutions. This is a normal and essential part of the learning process. Every developer, no matter how experienced, does this. Finally, keep learning. The world of web development changes fast. There are always new tools, frameworks, and best practices emerging. Stay curious. Follow web developers on social media, read tech blogs, and maybe dive into some more structured learning on platforms like Free Code Camp, the Odin Project, or Coursera. You can explore front-end frameworks like React or Vue.js to build more complex user interfaces, or you can start learning a back-end language like Python or Node.js to build more powerful applications. The path is yours to choose, but it all starts with that one folder, that one index.html file, and the curiosity to see what you can build. You've got this.